We were talking about ways that we can add SQLite capabilities with PubNub and leveraging the advantages of the PubNub streaming technology between a device that's running on your computer behind your home firewall and then another device being able to query that SQL database without having to worry about connectivity, security, opening firewalls, rules, and ports. This is something we looked at with AutoGlass in a previous episode, and we were looking at how to use localhost as a web database server. We did this one, we walked through it, but there's another way. There's another approach. Check this out. We've got something called PubNub App Contacts that is the easiest possible approach. If you're looking for a way to store database data, then this is by far, I would say, the easiest approach. It's a simple API call to set data, and it's a simple API call to get the data, and then you can query the data afterward. Let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's actually walk through. So we're looking at our patch endpoint for UUIDs. What is UUID? It's universally unique ID. It can be anything. It can be a device ID. It can be a person ID. It can be anything you want. And that's why it's sort of like an abstraction, right? So you can build whatever you're looking for. You need to provide an API key, and you need to provide what your user ID is, or a device ID or account ID. In this case, we'll just have it, we'll just keep it as generic as possible. UUID. We need our subscribe key, which is an API key. You can grab that from your API key in the admin.pubnub.com portal. Just copy that, go back over here, paste that in here. And then we need to know if we want any extra data, so we'll just include everything, might as well. We don't have to worry about the auth signature and timestamp right now. And then we will have a body. The body is going to be a JSON payload that is the data that we want to store in the database. And so we can make a correction here. And then we can go down, and it gives us an easy copy paste option. So we can oh wow, we can execute it right here on the page. Oh, what's going to happen? All right, I'm going to click it and see what happens. Okay, it worked. I had my terminal window open and everything ready to go. Like I was right here. I was like, oh, we can do it. We can get our terminal window open. But we don't need it because we have it right here on the page. So you can see what happened was I ran this curl, and the curl has my API key, and then it has my user ID, and then any extra data that I want to include, and then my payload data. So the name, oh, I see a mistake. So we probably want to say Jack, right? Because that's getting your email, right? And then we want to make sure that matches. So if I execute, the data that returns, my name is now Jack Doe correctly. And see, this was super easy. It was like really, really easy. There's like you can't get easier than this. And there's even like some Node.js version of it. So it makes it really easier. There's a Go, there's a Python. You just have the URL, the payload, and then you make a request with the request library with Python. Now, let's say you want to fetch that data, but you don't want to make a change to it. So obviously the patch API is sort of an upsert, so it will insert or update, right? So it's an upsert, it's a patch, and that's exactly what the patch verb is for in the REST API. We might want to just fetch this data. So all you have to do is just run get on this on the URL rather than patch, and you should get this information back. So actually, we can use our terminal window for that. Let's do this really quick. And wait, no, that was the patch. Hold on. So we don't need the raw data. We don't need the headers. We only need this here. Let's see here. And then we got to get rid of that. And now I do believe all we have to do is run enter. And then there we go. So this is the get API. It's the read API. So we're reading the data. So we showed how to save the data, update to delete it. And you can also delete the data if you wanted. And all you have to do is, when you want to do that, just say, I believe it's just x delete. Let's see what happens. Status 200. The data's gone. I deleted it. There's no data found anymore. Okay. It can't get easier than that. That's like as easy as you possibly can get for a universal data store API that's running on a SQL system that is all fully automatic, fully auto-scaled, and everything you need at your fingertips. Very super easy and simple. We can take the PubNub App Contacts API a step further by providing real-time change event notifications that all your other users can subscribe to whenever data is updated through a patch API. The verb patch on HTTP REST means to upsert, right? Insert or update. You might want to receive events on other devices when that data changes, and you might want to know what changed, or so everything can be updated in a user interface. We're living in a multi-user world, and now every user can see the same data across the screens. Even if one user updates it, all the other users can get the data and the change events. So say we are making an update to one of our data entities here. Let's actually just open up a terminal window so that way we can easily see what's happening. All right, so we've got a curl here. What I want to do is run this code, this one curl, which is going to insert or update the UUID. Right, so UUIDs, of course, right, we talked about this as a universally unique ID. It can be anything you want. An ID that's associated with a device or a person or an account ID, whatever, or maybe it's a document ID. Everyone's sharing the same document ID. So you can use this information right here, and this is the ID to pipe on. Of course, you need to have your API key as well, right? Your API key, which is going to be your sub key, which is right here on the screen. It will look like that. And then as well, you will want to make sure that you are subscribed to the UUID channel and making the same subkey. So what I can do is I can open up a stream. Now I've opened up a stream very easily. You can see here ps.pndsn.com/stream, my API key /UUID/0/-1, which just tells me to stream continuously. And then I can go over here and I should be able, when it happened, when I click the return button, I should be able to see a change event come through, and I did. That was really fast. Wow. Okay. Let's see if I can make another change. Let's just say pubnub.com. Let's see if it does come through. P-U-B, I could N-U-B, spell that correctly. Boom. All right. So we can see here that we had made 2 changes to an entity, a UUID, that took the, we created it first off, right? So this would be a set essentially, which is also an update or an upsert. We know what the type is. It's a UUID type. We know that the ID actually is UUID. We also get a timestamp, which is super nice. Then we made a change. Instead of x.com as the email, we made it pubnub.com as the email. So here is the pubnub.com email right here. And that updated and that changed. And now anyone who is subscribed to that stream of data will receive the events in real time. They will be able to make updates in the UI. So this is a nice little addition that I bet you didn't know, that you could use PubNub App Context for the SQL database in the backend. Takes care of all the scaling and the data storage, backup, and replication. So it's all taken care of for you. And all you have to do is use a simple API.